Good morning, my name is Jacob Folger. I'm an artist sculptor, and today we're going to make a miniature moss garden. And we're going to have some nice ingredients. We are using moss. This moss right here is called fern moss. This is mood moss. I believe this is frog moss. We have some interesting moss tendrils here, or leaves, and we have moss growing on a little piece of wood also. And if you look in the video description down below the video, there will be sources for where to buy moss and get some of the other ingredients we'll be using. We might use some sand. This is a nice fine white sand, and we have crystals. We have big crystals and we have little crystals here, and we also have a couple seashells in there, and we have pebbles for drainage. Just nice small pebbles for drainage. We also can use them in the landscape if we want. We have some organic soil right here, and we have stones, a number of stones, different sizes and shapes and colors and textures. And we're going to be building our garden inside this little glass globe that I picked up at my local florist for $7, and it's a nice little piece of glass. And so I'll move some of this thing back a little bit and out of the way, and now moss does not require soil to grow, but it can be used for landscaping, and it also can be used to bring moisture to the moss and keep it moist. So we're going to start off with putting some small pebbles. And again, you know, these are small, and that's what you want, is small pebbles or stones, rocks, that sort of thing. I'm just going to try to cover the bottom of that. This is a really fun and relaxing project. That should about do it. Now, I want soil in there, but I don't want the soil to be easily seen, so I'm creating a little bit of a bowl with the pebbles, so the pebbles will come up along the sides there a little bit. And then as far as the soil goes, if you're keeping it and it dries out on you, what I recommend doing is mixing a little bit of water with it before, and mix it up really good before you use it. So if it's really dry, it's probably not going to be as good as it would be if it was wet. So just kind of putting it inside that bowl that I created with the pebbles going up the wall. Okay, and now I'm going to wipe off my hands a little bit here, and we will continue. Now I'm going to pick out a couple stones to use. Had my eyes on some of these. This is kind of a smooth granite-like stone. It has a really nice texture and coloring to it. This is a different shape here altogether. We're going to go ahead and put a few of these in. Let's put that along the side there. And let's see, how do we want to put this in? Maybe I want a little bit of space there to have the moss go in between. When I put the moss in, I don't like to cram it into the spaces. I like to allow it some breathing space. I'm just going to pull the soil back out of there. It came up against the glass. There we go. And I think I'll probably start by putting a little bit of moss in there. So I'll just take a little. You can tear this. It comes apart. It depends on what kind it is, but it comes apart pretty easily. I'll just put it in between there and between the stones. I want to show you, I may use these. I have some tweezers here that are a foot long. But these are really great for working in bottle terrariums, and even in a terrarium like this, you can use them. And I found these on Amazon for $10. So just keep that in mind. I'll put that in also in the tool and supply list in the video description. I may be using those. I'm not sure yet. And we get a little bit more here. I'm just gonna take a little piece off of there and put it down in here. And again, I'm not trying to cram it in there because that will kind of stifle it a little bit. You don't want to do that. And moss does stay green year-round. And it's not affected by ice and snow or anything like that. But if you have an enclosed terrarium like this that doesn't have any kind of drainage, if you put it outdoors and the rain hits it, it will flood it. And so, you know, that's probably not a good idea. I think what I'm going to do, another tool that's nice to use is like a dowel like this. And you can press the moss down in between the stones or something like that. I have found that a lot of the tools that I have used over the years for making moss gardens and terrariums and that sort of thing is things that I found around my house more so than things that I bought. Now I think I'm going to put some pebbles in. Just to kind of add to the landscape here. And these pebbles are all kinds of different colors, and they're really quite pretty. And you know, one thing that I often tell people is that when you're making a terrarium, it's really a good idea to add different colors and textures and materials to the garden to draw your eye from one part to another. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, this is an example of how I use a household, basically just a spoon to put sand. I'm going to put some sand in here, just a little bit. But the best way to do it is to bend the spoon, and this is not an expensive spoon, but like that. Then I'll get my sand and just put that in. And then I think what I'll do is get a little bit, this is fern moss. Fern moss is my absolute favorite moss. And actually, I've had this in my terrarium. I have a terrarium where I keep all my moss. And some frog moss and mood moss has grown in with the fern moss. So it's kind of an interesting little bit. And let's see if we can tip this up so you can see inside there. And that's where it is now. And I'm going to go ahead and I want to bring this back around this way. Take some of this fern slash wood moss and put it down in here a little bit. I woke up this morning and there were mushrooms growing in my my terrarium, which I always love to see. Little tiny ones. And just pressing gently. And of course, you know, any moss that goes, tendrils or leaves that grow up onto the stones, or go up onto the stones, or, you know, that's a nice thing. We like that. And then I think I'm going to, that's a little bit big. I've got some crystals here. I think I'll put in here kind of in different places. Put one more right there. Nice little cluster there. And maybe let's see here. I think maybe a crystal, or how about a seashell? over in here. And you can see, so when you're looking at this, your eyes are drawn from one part to another because there's so much going on. There's the stones and the crystals and the seashell and the sand and the pebbles. So there's really a lot going on, and it makes it very interesting. And I think I've got this nice smooth stone. I think I'll put that over in the corner here, and then maybe a couple stones around it, a couple little pebble stones around it. And it's a nice little natural setting. And also to tell you that another great tool for terrariums is a paintbrush for brushing off any soil or terrarium elements that got on the glass. You can easily clean it off, or easily just dust it off with a paintbrush like this. And you can also use it to just settle the pebbles or the moss, or you know, just use it to settle it into the landscape. I do want to take a little fern moss and just put it right there. And there we go. Just looking at it now from all sides. Let's turn it around here so you can see it. It's really very nice and very natural setting. Now, a good way to care for this, again, is to keep it indoors, especially if it has no drainage besides what we put in, the pebbles. And you do want to keep it in indirect sunlight so that the sun isn't beaming down on it. And you can water it with distilled water with a mister type bottle like this. And you just spray it. You want to try to keep the moss moist because that's where it's going to be the most happy. And it's pretty simple to care for, but the best thing to do, I think, is to you can just touch it with your hands like this to see if it's moist. And just make sure you keep it that way, but don't water it so much that the water is coming up to the above the drainage, the pebbles, drainage pebbles. You want to keep the moss above the water. You don't want it sitting in the water. So it's basically like that. And this is the top view of the garden. And you can see it's a simple project. It's not difficult to do. You just have to have the elements. And again, I'll provide you with some resources, sources for places where you can get some of these things, and so you can easily make one. And oh, you know what I would like to do? I just realized this little log or piece of wood that has moss growing on it. I'd like to put in here. And I think I'll put it right there. There we go. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe to my channel. I have many videos along these lines. And please give the video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And leave me a comment and tell me what kind of tutorial you would like to see me do. And I will try to make that happen. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Be creative, have fun, enjoy your life. Thank you for watching.